woke up the next day and I saw my mom in our room. I wanted to ask why she slept in her children's room, then I recalled the previous day events. My family asked what happened to me before I slept and if I had any dream. I explained everything that happened to them and they told me not to worry, that nothing of such would happen again. My grandma then said that we can't leave the next day, that we would have to visit somewhere first. We quickly prepared to go to where Grandma mentioned. It was a very old-looking house close to the village stream. My parents and my uncle came with us while my siblings stayed back at home. When we entered, an old man welcomed us. He looked too old to me and he seems to be staying alone. The elders greeted while I stayed mute, just looking around the weird house. He asked us to sit on the floor, which we did. He then asked my grandma if I am the child. My grandma said yes. I was surprised. When did they talk exactly? Or maybe someone was sent to his place earlier to tell him what was going on, because to me, he didn't look like he could use a phone. Young girl, I have heard of your story, and I must say this is a tough one, because this kind of thing stopped many years ago in this land of Ito. The king had a son with a slave, but the slave never loved the king. She became his concubine, and after her son was born, she started to use the king's love for her selfish purpose. Rumors had it that she was using charm on him. She turned the king against his own people, and the people started to suffer. The king made people labor hard, but gave them little reward. He punished whoever was found grumbling, and this made people to rebel against the royal house. The queen could not do much because she had 2 daughters for the king, and he didn't show her much care. He channeled all his care to his concubine. When the people of the land attacked, lives were lost, including that of the queen and her daughters. The king survived because some guards fought and laid down their lives for him and his concubine, who were together when the war started. After that incident, the village never knew peace. People were stealing and so many negative reports were recorded. The king's love for his concubine is what led to his death, because he found her sleeping with his guard one fateful day, and that's how he laid a curse and died. Her son took over and she died a few years later due to a serious health condition. And since then, this village changed for the better, because her son, who saw everything his mother did, decided not to make same mistakes. My parents were looking worried while the old man spoke. The curse the king laid was that the concubine, whose name was Folashade, would never get a man to marry or love her, even in her next life to come. Her soul would always be in a female body, and he would find her whenever she is reborn and make her his wife in the spirit world, so that in the real world she will not know happiness with any man. And as for him, he will never be reborn, as that is his own punishment for allowing his wife the queen and the 2 daughters die such a miserable death. That Folashade's soul is in you, Lola. And the little boy that you have been seeing is the late king. He has sensed her soul in you. That is why you are the only one seeing him. He is coming to you as a little boy because of your age. This is not the first time this is happening in the land of Ito. The first girl ran mad and got raped. She was also beaten to death by thugs. The second girl committed suicide because her body was weak and couldn't take what she sees in the spirit realm. But all of this came to a stop when a sacrifice was made 20 years ago to the late king. Many people have forgotten about this story because it did not happen after the sacrifice. But you seeing this little boy shows something is wrong. After hearing this, my parents became more worried. They asked what could be done, and the old man said nothing can be done. A curse is a curse. But they can put a mark on Lola so that it would confuse the late king's spirit and he would not come to take her. But that doesn't mean she would not see him in her dreams. The only difference is that he would not be able to take her away from them. That was what was done for others. But they made their choices when they couldn't take it anymore. My parents and grandma thanked the man and we left. All this while I was speechless. Am I the wicked concubine? Am I the one they were referring to? Am I really cursed? I just kept thinking in my mind. My mom noticed and assured me everything will be fine. On reaching home, there was a meeting and it was concluded that since we've heard the story from someone who knows what happened and also gotten the advice from him, They would go to a man of God whom was known for doing wonders, but he's in the big city. We all agreed to leave the next morning with my uncle to our house in the city. Then from there we would go to the man of God. That night when I slept, he came to me in the dream as a little boy. He told me anywhere I go, he will follow me and always be with me because I belong to him. I woke up with a shock. Although my mom was laying with me, I still couldn't sleep till the next morning. When we got home to the big city, I looked around and it felt like I have been away for a long time. But in reality, it was not up to a week. I looked at my little book and saw all I wrote to do with my parents and siblings during our stay in the village. None of it was achieved. Instead, I became a stranger's wife, or whatever they were saying. I took a deep breath and I hoped all of this would be over. School will be resuming soon and I am in my senior class and won't want anything interrupting my life. I thought about my friends, how my life was before I went to the land of Ito. I thought of what I want to become in future. I wasn't going to let anyone or anything stop me from getting there. I was called out of my thoughts when my dad asked if I was ready that we have to leave to the man of God's place. When we got there, we explained everything to him. He prayed with us and told me to fast and pray for 7 days, which I did. The first night of the fast, the little boy came again and said I cannot hide from him. He will always be by my side and we would grow together as one. Second night, he came in my dreams with 2 other persons. He tried to sleep with me. I kept calling for help from God and all of a sudden, he vanished. Fast forward to the 6th day. He came again with the lady I saw in my dream the first day. He was promising to give me the world, which I rejected. Suddenly, he transformed into an ugly-looking creature and started chasing me. The lady also suddenly wasn't beautiful to behold anymore. While they chased me, I suddenly got the courage to not run anymore and I fought them with the words of God in my mouth. And they both fell to the ground and I woke up. I called the pastor and he told me he was also attacked by strangers, but God will always have the victory. My parents have been joining me in the fasting and prayers too, and they also got attacked by strangers in their dreams. The 7th day, which was the last day, I didn't see him in my dreams, but I saw myself wearing a dirty and torn clothes. Then I saw my parents coming towards me in the dream. They saw me and quickly removed the dirty clothes and brought out a new clothes to wear on me. I woke up smiling and cried tears of joy because I knew it was over. I told the pastor and my parents about the dream and they rejoiced with me. My parents and siblings now hold morning prayers and evening prayers in my house. And looking back, I thank God I went to the village. The land of Ito really changed me and my family for the better. Because after that day till date, I have not seen him in my dream and physically. Our spiritual life as a family have grown so much. And I am having my wedding ceremony next month to the best man in the world, who said I could not marry anyone because of a stranger that I was engaged to in a dream. What God cannot do does not exist. I do write inspirational books for people to learn from, and one of my favorite quotes is